Hon Muyowa Kennedy are my full names. I'm a private tutor for secondary mathematics, and I do handle both junior and senior secondary mathematics. In the past, I used to organize a number of pupils starting from 10 to about 20, and could take them in extra lessons for mathematics. But nowadays, due to some other commitments or rather some other works, I do not organize such a group of pupils, and they've been in this business for quite some time, for 11 years by the end of December this year, which is 2014. Having been in this business for so long, I've made up my mind to start recording lesson after lesson on DVD video, so that someone out there can take advantage of watching such video clips to enhance learning of secondary mathematics. You see, secondary mathematics is not all that difficult, even though most people in society claim it to be. Mathematics is simple and straightforward. What is important is that the little one can learn must be put into practice, as it is only by practicing that one can end up developing better skills. Without wasting much of your time, I want to look at revision for grade 10, 11 and 12. And in this regard, I'm going to be picking questions from past examination papers. And then I'm going to be solving these questions. And if you are watching that video CD, if you learn how to solve a particular problem, I'm urging you to be putting into practice for you to develop better skills. So without wasting much of your time, what I'm going to do in this video CD is that I'm going to be picking questions from different past papers at random. You may find that one question can come from 2007 paper 2. The other one is going to come from a different paper, which can be 2010 or 2005, like that. And as I solve the problems, I'll be explaining all the steps and the details on how to go about. And I'll be giving comments behind that, so that as you watch that video CD, if you are a kind of a person who have had a problem in handling a particular problem, then you simply learn by watching that video CD. And if you learn, the best you can do for you to develop better skills is to be doing a lot of practice, as it is only by practicing that a person can develop better skills. Nowadays, it has become a trend that when most candidates sit for their exams, you find that most of them fail science and mathematics, and yet science and mathematics are not difficult to handle or to understand. You find that most of the pupils fail in such a way that they do not finish the syllabus, and the way a final exam comes, it is restricted to cover the whole syllabus. It can't be restricted to a single topic. That's why it's rare to find that if one can only pick on one topic and keep on revising that topic, it's rare that that person can record a better grade. So the best you can do is that trigonometry right angled triangle. Then you should not even waste time. You just spare time to revise that, and you should be keeping on revising that for you to develop better skills. And there are some other areas such as indices, construction, to mention just a few. Or in short, all the topics that are bounded by the syllabus must be covered, and again you should have time to revise them. And that way you cannot find the mathematics to be difficult, and you can stand a better chance of getting a better grade in mathematics. So without wasting much of your time, let us look at what I have prepared for you. And this video CD is meant for pupils who have attended grade 10, 11 and 12. And again, those who are writing, including adult learners, can use this material. It came to my mind that looking at modern technology, it's possible to teach someone without questioning a teacher. So the way I'll be answering questions, I know that there is no time for questioning me on how to go about. I'll be taking my time to explain the details. But for you, after you learn, the best you can do is that you have to reduce on the time to spend on out when handling a certain question. That's why I'm emphasizing to say whatever little you can learn must be put into practice. So let us look at the first question. And this question is coming from a past from paper. 2007 paper 2. I am going to consider only question 1. And question 1 comprises of 3 questions rated A to C. So let me peruse so that you see. And this is the cover for 2007 paper 2. So that is the first question, and this is question 1. So question 1, we have question 1A, B, and C. And the first one, which is A, is given that x is equals to 8, y is equals to -2, comma, find x minus y squared. And the number of marks is 2 marks, as you can see there. Then B is factorize completely 3x minus 12x to the power 3. The number of marks again 2 marks. And when it comes to question C, it is expressed as a single fraction, x plus 5 divided by 3 minus x plus 2 divided by 4. Number of marks 3 marks. So let me show how this can be treated. This is not all that difficult, but simple and straightforward. To bring the question closer, these are the 3 questions which I am going to handle. These are the 3 questions that I am going to handle. I am sure if you are watching that video CD, since learning is via DVD video, the best you can do is to have a piece of paper with you so that you have this question copied, or you copy these questions yourself. That is question 1A, B, and C. To go through them again, A, given that x is equals to 8 and y is equals to -2, comma, find x minus y squared. Then B, factorize completely 3x minus 12x to the power 3, whereas C is expressed as a single fraction, x plus 5 divided by 3 minus x plus 2 divided by 4. The number of marks 3 marks. So these are the questions that I'm going to consider from 2007. Let me add also question 2A, whereby you are told to solve a quadratic equation. Solve the equation 2x squared minus 3x minus 1 equals 0. Then it is accompanied by giving your answer correct to 2 decimal places, and the number of marks for this particular question is 5 marks. I am sure if you can look at that, the number of marks for this second question is 5 marks. As you can see, we've been told to say solve the equation 2x squared minus 3x minus 1 equals 0, comma, giving your answer to 2 decimal places. The number of marks 2 marks. So from this paper, which is 2007, I have decided to pick only for question 1 and question 1, which is comprising of 3 questions A, B, C, and I have decided to pick only on question 2A. And these can be worked out. At this point in time, you have seen the questions that I have selected from 2007 past examination paper, and this is paper 2. I have selected question A, comprising of question 1, comprising of 3 questions related A to C, and I have added question 2. And this is how these questions can be answered. In the first place, I look at the first one, which we've been told to say, given that x is equals to 8 and y is equals to -2. This is given. X is equals to 8 and y is equals to -2. This negative sign is very important. Mind you, in mathematics, negative 2 and positive 2 are two different answers. If you can leave out this, if you can left out that negative, then you just write a 2. Then that can be the beginning of a mistake. According to what we've been given, given that x is equals to 8, this is what is given in the question. Given that, if I can copy for those who do not have access to that paper, that's why it's very important. If you are learning mathematics using that video CD, you should have a piece, or you should have a piece of paper with you so that you can be copying the details. So now, and from there, what is the question part? The question part is find the x minus y squared. So now look at that, the difference between x and the y squared. So to answer this question, it's not all that difficult, and the number of marks which were allocated to such a question was 2 marks. So how to handle it? You get the question part, which is x minus y to the power 2. Then what is x? X is given to be 8. So in place of x you write 8. Then a minus. Then in place of y squared, it means y multiplied by y. And when you look at y is given as a negative number. So since it is a negative number, it must be in brackets squared, and this is a negative 2. That is the idea. It can be a mistake to multiply that negative by that negative so that you get a positive. The first thing you have to do there is to square a y so that you come up with that number that should be subtracted from x. So I maintain x is 8, then a minus, which is between x and y squared. Then negative 2 squared, it means that a negative 2 again multiplied by negative 2, and this is going to be positive 4. Since a negative multiplied by negative is equals to positive. I'm sure that is understood. Or positive multiplied by positive, which is positive. But positive by negative, that is where you get a negative. When you multiply what is different, that is when you can get a negative. But when you multiply what is the same, you always achieve a positive. So there, negative 2 times negative 2, this is positive 4. So negative 2 times negative 2, it is a positive 4 there. Then I maintain the minus, which is between x and y squared. Then that way, 8 minus 4, then you get a 4. According to the question, find the value of x minus y squared. The value is a 4. I'm sure that is understood. It can be a big mistake to multiply there to say negative times negative. Then you get positive. Then you say 2 times 2, 4. Then that way you are going to end up adding a 4 to 8 and getting a 12, which is not supposed to be like that. That is how the first question was supposed to be answered. So from there, allow me to take you some steps further. This is question 1 from 2007 paper 2, section A. I'm sure that is understood. So without wasting much of your time, allow me to take you some steps further in mathematics. This time around, let us look at question B. What is this question B all about? Question B is all about factorize completely. And what are we going to factorize? We are going to factorize 3x minus 12 to x to the power 3. And this is factorized completely, and again the number of marks you have seen, it is 2 marks. This is not all that difficult to handle, as long as one can understand the difference between the two squares. So what it is that before I handle the question, what is this difference of two squares? If you have a squared minus b squared, a is said to be a square term because it is raised by power 2, and again b is a square term because it is raised by power 2. So if you see that in mathematics, just know that you have to open 2 brackets, open and close like that. Inside the brackets in that order, a and b, and there a and b. Then there it's a plus, and that is a minus, just like that. So now if you look at that, there is somewhere you have to factor it like that. So without wasting much of your time, in the first place you look at this 3x and 12x. Is there any letter or number that is common which can be divided into both the 3x and the 12x? For numbers, 3 can go into 3 once and the 3 can go into 12 4 times, and there is x there and the x squared. So what you are going to do in the first place is to remove 3x outside the brackets, so that you get this 3x into 3x, you get a 1. I'm sure that is C. Then minus 3x into negative 12x. So it is going to be, this is a positive 3, it is going to be a negative. So 3 into 12, it's 4. And x into x to the power 3, it is x squared, like that. This is not the end. From there, this must be derived further. I'm saying this must be derived further, but how can this be driven further? What you have to see is that this 3x which you have got there must be maintained. Then this one, write it in a square form as 1 to the power 2. 1 to the power 2, this simply means a 1, but it is written in a square form, because if you multiply a 1 multiplied by a 1, still you are going to get 1 squared. Then you maintain a minus there. This 4x squared can be written as 2x in smaller brackets squared, like that. Then you maintain the outer bracket like that. So without wasting much of your time, as you can see, 1 squared minus 2x squared. This is difference of 2 squares. This is raised by power 1. 1 is raised by power 1. Again, 2x is raised by power 1. And by doing that, I haven't changed anything. I have only represented this one in a square form and this 4x squared in a square form. Because if I say 2x multiplied by 2x, I'm going to get back to 4x squared. I'm sure now that is seen, and at the same time it is understood. And I maintain 3x outside the brackets. I open the two brackets like that. Inside the brackets, this is 1 and 2x, and this is 1 and 2x. And a plus there and a minus there. Just like that. That is how you can score. That is how you can score 2 marks. That is how this problem can be factored. I'm sure this is understood. This is how this problem can be factored. So in another cases where we can have maybe 1 minus 9y squared. To factor this is 1 squared minus this 9, it is 3y in brackets squared like that. So that this is raised by power 2 and that is raised by power 2, the minus is in between. Then that way you create two brackets. This is 1 plus 3y and 1 minus 3y. I'm sure that is understood. That's why I said whatever you can learn in this subject must be put into practice, as it is only by practicing that one can end up developing better skills. So without wasting much of your time, we move on to question C, and this question C can be treated as you can see, question C we've been told to express as a single fraction. Looking at this, why express as a single fraction? Express in the sense that what we have are expressions. X plus 5 over 3 is an expression, and this is x plus 2 over 4 is an expression. And these are in a fraction form. So express as a single fraction. It means that you have to write these expressions as one fraction, because single means 1. So when you confront a fraction like this one, how can you express such as a single fraction? This is simple and straightforward. What you have to do is that in the first place you copy the question. This is x plus 5 over 3 minus x plus 2 over 4. Look for a common denominator, a number in which 3 and 4 can be divided into without leaving any remainder. There are so many numbers, but you have to look at the lowest, that is a 12. And how do I obtain a 12? Simply by multiplying 3 by 4 and you get 12. But at times, if between the 3 and the 4, one of them were to divide into the other, then that bigger number were to be the common denominator. What I mean is that if you were to have a 3 and a 12, 12 were to be a common denominator, because 3 can go into 12. I'm sure that is understood. But like the case, 3 into 12, you get a remainder, and and 4 into 3, you get a decimal number. So what you have to do there is that you look for a common denominator, and this common denominator is a 12. Upon getting a common denominator to be a 12 like that, then what you are going to do is to divide 3 into a 12, it is 4. So you write a 4, mind you, I have divided 3 into 12, I get a 4. Create 2 brackets, open and close. Inside the 2 brackets, write what is up there, x plus 5. And this is x plus 5, which means that this result which you get must be multiplied by that. You maintain a minus, which is there. If it were to be a plus, you were to drop a plus. Minus 4 into 12, it is 3 times. Then create the brackets again like that. Then write what is up there. You have divided the 4 into 12, it's 3 times. So I have written a 3 there. Then I create the brackets. Inside the brackets, I write what is up there. This is x plus 2. I'm sure this is not all that difficult. X plus 2 like that. Then from there, 4 multiplied by x, you get 4x. And 4 multiplied by 5, you get 20 like that. And this is not all that difficult to understand. I'm sure at this point in time you have seen how I am distributing. This 4 multiplied by x, I get 4x, and 4 multiplied by positive 5, I get positive 20. Negative 3 multiplied by x, I get negative 3x there, and negative 3 multiplied by positive 2, I get a negative 6. Then I maintain that this is out over a 12. Then from there, all I need to do is to collect the like terms. And what are these like terms? Mind you, we have a 4x there, and we have a minus 3x. We have to take them the way they are without changing their signs. This time the equal sign is not there. That's why these are said to be the expressions. So what you are going to do is you get 4x, this is 4x, then minus 3x, that is 3x, then followed by plus 20, this is plus 20, and minus 6, this is a negative 6. And you maintain that this is over 12. I'm sure that is seen. Then from there, 4x minus 3x, you are going to get x. Then positive 20 minus 6, this is plus 14. And this is over 12. Just like that, this is how this can be expressed as a single. This is how this can be expressed as a single fraction. I'm sure that is seen. 4x minus 3x, I get x, and the positive 20 minus 6, I get plus 14. And this is over 12. So as you can see from the two fractions, that and that, I have managed to get one fraction, of which this is x plus 14 over 12. And by doing that, one can score 3 marks. You see, there are 2 ways of examining such a question, whereby you can be told to say express as a single fraction. One way is that you are going to be given the problem like the one whereby x plus 5 is up and the number is down, minus x plus 2 is up and the number is down. And at times you find that this 3 can be up and x plus 5 can be down, and that 4 can be up and x plus 2 can be down. Still the same question can be maintained, and again the same number of marks can be maintained. In another development, I'm going to consider such a question when extracting from the next paper. So from there I move on 7. This time around it is the question 2a, and it is a quadratic equation, a trinomial type, of which candidates were questioned to solve a quadratic equation, and it was accompanied by giving answers to 2 decimal places. How can such a question be solved? There are a number of methods of which this question can be solved, and this is 2x squared minus 3x minus 1 equals 0. It can be solved by using a formula, and at the same time the same question can be solved by using completing the squares. But this time around I'm going to use a formula. What it is that when you confront such a question, you have to look at a, b, and c. This is ax and bx. This is squared, positive or negative, and this is 0. This is a trinomial type of a quadratic equation, of which in this case A is equals to 2, B is equals to negative 3, and C is equals to 1. So what we are going to get from this question, which is 2x minus 3x minus 1 equals 0, is that A is equals to 2, which is a positive, and B is equals to negative 3, whereas C is also a negative 1. If you can consider what is negative to be positive in mathematics, that can be the beginning of a mistake. So what is important is that you have to be strict in the way you handle or numbers. If a number is negative, it must be considered to be negative like that. Now that you know this, so the next thing you are going to do is to use a formula, and this formula is not other than x is equals to negative b, then positive or negative, then a square root there, b squared minus 4ac over 2a. So you should present the formula in such a way that this dividing line should start where the equal sign ends up to that far end, meaning that this 2a which is down must be divided into the root of that part. If the line can be drawn up to that point, it means this 2a can be divided into the discriminant, which is b squared minus 4ac. I'm sure that is understood. So the way you present the formula matters also. I'm sure that is understood. Now, what is the significance of this formula? Where you have seen 4ac, it means 4 multiplied by a multiplied by c. B squared, it means b multiplied by b, and this is negative b positive, which can be positive or negative. This is 2a, it means 2 multiplied by a, of which you have seen that a is taken to be a 2, where this is a, and the b is taken to be a negative 3, whereas the c is considered to be a negative 1. And what you see in this formula are the letters a, b, c. And apart from a, b, c, another letter is x, and this is what we are trying to find. Since this formula subjects x to x is the subject, meaning that we are trying to find the value of x, and that word solve simply mean work out by calculating. So to work out this problem, all you need to do is to start substituting. So there is the x equals a negative part of the formula. Then what is the b? B is a negative 3. So in brackets, you write a negative 3 because this is a negative number. If it were to be positive, I were just to write a positive 3, a negative, so that these two negatives can be seen. One negative is part of the formula, and b is offered to be negative 3. So this time around, when substituting, you have to consider the two negatives. This which is coming from the formula, and the one which is a b. I'm sure that is understood. Then I maintain positive or negative there, a square root. Then upon maintaining a square root, what is b squared? This is a negative 3, so this is negative 3 squared. It can be a mistake to write it as negative 3 squared like that, because what it means there, it is that negative times 3 times 3, and you can end up getting a negative 9. So the correct way to present that negative 3 squared is to write this negative 3 in brackets like that, so that you can have a negative 3 by negative 3, and you can get a positive 9. I'm sure that is understood. This presentation means that negative 3, again negative 3 multiplied, so that you get a positive 9. And like if someone writes it as negative 3 squared, then there what can be expected is a negative 9. It means negative multiplied by 3 multiplied by 3. I'm sure that is understood. And again, if you look at the way I'm handling the question, it matters the way you present. How I have obtained the a to be a 2, b to be a negative 3, and the c to be a negative 1, of which this is what I'm substituting in that formula. As you can see, the formula is presented, then a negative, positive, negative, b positive or negative, and then square root b squared minus 4ac over 2a. So from there, this is x equals, I respect this negative from the formula. Then what is b? B is a negative 3. Since it's a negative, I've written it in brackets. Then positive or negative square root. Inside the square root, we have b squared. So you better write a negative 3 in brackets squared like that, then minus 4 multiplied by a. What is a? A is 2, whereas C is a negative 1. I'm sure that is seen. A C is a negative 1 like that in brackets. So without wasting much of your time, this is over 2 multiplied by a. A is a 2. Then as you can see, upon substituting in this formula, a equals to b equals negative 3 and c equals negative 1. The only delta we can see is x, and this is what we are trying to find, and this is x equals negative 3 times negative times negative 3. This is going to be a positive. Then what comes next here is that negative. You've seen that negative multiplied by negative is positive, so this is a positive 3. X equals positive 3. You maintain a positive and the negative there, then a square root like that. Then there negative 3 squared. Mind you, I've written it as negative 3 squared, meaning that this is in negative 3 again in negative 3, and that way I can get a positive 9. So this is a positive 9. So now, upon getting a positive 9 like that, then this is minus, and I'm sure that is seen. Negative 3 times negative 3, this is positive 9. Then there we have this negative and that negative. Mind you, I said 4ac means 4 multiplied by a multiplied by c. So meaning that negative 4 multiplied by 2 multiplied by negative 1. So meaning that negative by negative. And negative 4 times 2 is negative 8. Negative 8 times 1. This is going to be positive 8. So in short, negative times negative, this changes to a positive. So at 4 multiplied by 2, 8. 8 times 1, it's 80 like that. Then this is over 2 multiplied by 2, you get a 4. Then you move further. This is x equals positive 3, positive or negative, then square root. You find the sum of 9 and 8. This is 17 over a 4. I'm sure you are able to see the way I'm driving this problem, and this is not all that difficult but simple and straightforward. Now that you have reached there, x is equals to 3, positive or negative, square root 17, then divided by 4. And mind you, this dividing line should go up to, should start where the equal sign ends up to that far end, meaning that upon getting the result from up there, that is when you are going to divide a 4. It can be a mistake to shorten a line like that. Then that way it is going to mean that this 4 is being divided into the square root of 17. I'm sure that is understood. So not wasting much of your time. Where we have reached, allow me to drive it further. X equals positive 3, positive or negative square root 17 divided by 4. So this can be driven there, as you can see, and this is x equals positive 3, positive or negative square root of 17, and then everything divided by 4. Now, because of the two signs there, you have a positive and a negative. These two must be separated in such a way that the way you are going to separate them is that you are going to use the term either x is equals to, in the first place you are going to add 3 to the square root of 17, and in the second place you are going to subtract square root of 17 from 3. And this can be done as follows. So what I'm saying is that you write the word either. So this is either to separate the two. So this is x equals 3, which is the first number there. In the first place we use a positive, plus square root of 17 over 4. Or again this is x equals 3, this time minus square root of 17 over a 4, or like that. I'm sure that is seen. Now, upon reaching there, this is where most of the pupils make a mistake when solving quadratic equations, in such a way that if you are using a calculator, what it is that make sure that you get the feedback up there as 3 plus square root of 17, place an equal sign please, so that you get that feedback, and it is that feedback in which, or that answer in which a 4 should be divided into. Same applies there. You say 3 minus square root 17, or you find the square root of 17, subtract that square root of 17 from 3, then the result, that is where you are going to divide 4, and that way you are going to end up getting the decimals. I'm sure that is understood. Others can prefer finding the square root of 17 aside. Let me do it that way. In order for me to be fair, I have to employ the calculator. If you find the square root of 17, that is the square root of 17. Since you are learning using a video CD, it can be a good idea to copy that number, write it aside, and it can be better not to write the whole thing, but to write it to 4 decimal places. So that is the square root of 17, which is 4.1231. So to 4 decimal places. It is the final answer that is expected to be given to 2 decimal places. So somewhere, square root of 17. Let me indicate the square root of 17 somewhere. So square root of 17 is found to be 4.1231. That is the square root of 17. So now, from there, you say x is equal to 3 plus the square root of 17, which is 4.1231, then divided by 4, or 3 minus the square root of 17, which is 4.1231, then divided by 4. Then from there, what you are going to do is, as you can see, I've treated the top part like I said, 3 positive 3 plus square root 17. Then I get the feedback, of which the feedback is this, which is square root of 17. Square root of 17 is 4.1231, and the square root of 17 the same, 4.1231. So in the first place, you are going to add a 3 to that, and there you subtract a 3. I'm sure that is seen. So if a 3 is added to this, then you are going to get 3 plus 4. It is going to be 7.1231. Still you maintain over 4. Remember, you haven't divided a 4 yet. I'm sure that is seen. Then from there you subtract 4. 3 minus 4.1. 3 minus 4 point the square root of 17. So using a calculator, this is 3 minus 4.1231. Then this way you are going to get -1. This is -1.1231. Then still divided by 4. It is at this point that you are going to divide 4, and this is not all that difficult, as you can see. Showing the stages like that, this 4 should be divided. Now, some of you, the mistake that you make is that you get a scientific calculator, then you feed your calculator as 3 plus the square root of 17 divided by 4. Then you press an equal sign. That way you end up getting a wrong answer. So it's advisable to make sure that you get the answer up there, square root of 17, then added to 3. Then the result which you get, of which this is 7.1231. This is where you are going to divide a 4, so that you get that decimal number. Same applies there. You subtract 3. You subtract square root of 17 from a 3, of which square root of 17 is found to be 4.1231 to 4 decimal places. Subtracted from a 3, it becomes -1.1231. Then you divide a 4, and if you divide a 4, you are going to get the decimal numbers, and you have to write that to more than 4 decimal places. But remember that this question appears in paper 2. And again, it is specified to say give your answer to 2 decimal places. So upon showing more than 4 decimal places, thereafter you show the final answer to 2 decimal places. And if you divide, this is what is going to happen. By dividing the sum 3 plus square root of 17 then divided by a 4. That is the result which I have obtained. It is 1.780 so to 4 decimal places I have considered 1.7808, and this is 1.7808. Same applies if you divide the 4 into negative 1.1231, you get negative 0.12808. Now you should not leave the answer like that. Since this is in paper 2, then you have to say therefore x is equals to 1.78 to 2 decimal places, meaning that 2 numbers after a decimal point, or negative 0.208. Just like that. This is how this quadratic equation was supposed to be solved. So far so good. This is the questions are coming from. I have got the question from the final examination paper, which was 2007. I have considered question 1 comprising of 3 questions, as you have seen, A to C, and again I have considered the question 2A. This time around I'm going to get my second question in my revision from a different paper, not the same paper, which is 2007. So let us look at a different paper and see what I can get and work it before the camera.